Grab your helmets, tighten your gloves, and join us at the Big Bad Bike Show as we ignite the airwaves with captivating discussions, exhilarating stories, and explosive energy that only motorcycle racing and possibly the 4th of July fireworks can evoke. Was there an American fairy tale? Did the British win the day, or did the Spanish Armada sail off into the distance? Let the engines roar and the sparks fly, because this podcast is the ultimate ride into the thrilling world of motorcycle racing. My name is Sam Macaulay, and I'm your host, and as always, I'm joined by the up north biker, Ash Hall.
Hello there.
And of course, as always, making it a full set, is Chris Chippy Ballard.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening as we're recording. It's Tuesday the 4th of July, approximately 8:30. If you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss an episode and or a video. If you're on Spotify or Apple or even Google, you can leave a comment and perhaps you can let us know where you're listening from. You can get in contact at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Ash, do you want to tell us what's coming up on the show?
Yeah, I will do. It's as usual, the all-new Who Am I, done by Chippy tonight. Looking back at the World Superbikes at Donington Park, and we'll be making our predictions for this weekend's BSB at Snetterton.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which I'm quite looking forward to. Well, Snetterton's not my favourite track, but...
No, it's probably my least favourite.
Yeah, I don't have a real great memory about it. Like, I've never been.
It's very flat.
And
boring,
usually with
innit?
BSB, I'll be honest, usually with BSB, if there's World Superbikes or if there's MotoGP on, I usually would watch them before I'd watch British Superbikes. So, it usually takes a back seat. So.
Yeah, well, the way World Superbikes is at the moment, that's taking a back seat for me.
Yep, same.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. What's everybody been up to this week, or what's been the highlight or the low light of your week, Chippy?
Well, my dog's a little bit poorly. Poor little Arthur. He sat here with me now, cuddled up to me. But he jumped on the bed last night, leant over my face and then threw up on me, which is like the worst wake-up call I've ever had.
Did he actually throw up on your face?
A bit of it went, it was like on my neck and down on my shoulder.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a bit of it went in my mouth.
No, I just felt him jump up and I thought he was coming for a cuddle, so I went to cuddle him and then I just heard, and then it was just all over me. It went everywhere.
Oh.
It was pretty grim, and then
Can you imagine what I could do to my dog if he did that?
Yes. Well, he was sick again earlier, so he's cuddled up to me now. I think he's going to be all right. I think it was the beach, to be honest. Drunk a lot of salt water. So
That'll do it.
Or sand. But yeah, apart from that, I've just been learning how to cook again, and my butterfly bush has started to flower, which is very exciting.
Oh, Miller bush.
Ash, what have you been up to?
Me, well, I've taken a leaf out of your book and had a crack at making my own pizza, like you did.
Yes.
Except for mine was better than yours.
It is exactly the same recipe. I literally gave you my recipe.
It was really successful. Like, it was so good. I was very impressed with myself.
And how do you know it's better than mine? You didn't try mine.
Because it's just better.
It's the same way as you think Yorkshire tea's better. It's just because where you're from. Because it's yours.
We're not going on to the subject of Yorkshire tea again. Shut your mouth.
No, it's shit.
I'm off all this week because I'm currently on leave because summer holidays, so I'm spending some time with the kids. Yeah, so my mum and dad's birthday today, 4th of July.
Is it both of their birthdays?
Yeah, they're just different years.
They're not twins,
Are you sure they're different years? That's what I was thinking. Are you sure they're not twins and that's why you're weird?
If they were twins, it would be very odd.
Incest, yes, it would be.
And it would create somebody like you.
Nah, not a chance.
Or maybe Chippy.
I gave my dad a call this morning to wish him happy birthday, and I says, "Where are you?" Because I completely forgot he was going on his biking trip across the Alps again. And he's like, "Oh, I'm currently in Italy, just enjoying a morning coffee." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So he's enjoying his birthday while touring on his bike. I'm very jealous.
Does your mum and dad have bets as to who you're going to call first on their birthday?
I don't think so. No. But yeah, that's all I've been up to. Sam, about you?
Well, as you know from last week, the highlight of my week was my weekend going to the World Superbikes at Donington. I had an absolutely fantastic time. It was class.
We could tell.
Yeah, I was quite jealous.
I didn't get the whole VIP treatment behind the scenes, paddock walk and all that you guys got, but it was such a phenomenal weekend. I was so happy. The minute I got there, I was just in my element. Everybody around me was just people like me, just a bunch of pissheads all walking around with the bikes. And yeah, I got the tent up, had my little cooking supplies, had a fantastic time. Got there on a Friday night. Got there too late on Friday to watch any of the practices or anything like that, but got there on Friday night, went to some of the live entertainment that was in the middle of the circuit, and we were staying near Hollywood in the Craner Curve, so we went up that night and we put up our windbreaker and all, so it was there, so we could always just sit there. We wouldn't have to worry about trying to find a space.
You're on the outside of the track, weren't you?
Up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on like the apex of.
So you went and reserved your seats, kind of like when you go on holiday and like people go down and reserve their seats with a towel.
Yeah, loads of people do it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So we went out and put a windbreaker out, and that windbreaker kind of says, we made the effort to put this windbreaker out, so we're going to sit here. And other people have did it. Other people have put up like little tents and stuff. And so we weren't actually in seats as such. We were on the bank. We were on the grass. Yeah, and so like I say, I was at Hollywood, just as Hollywood, and then down into the Craner Curves. And from start to finish, it was brilliant. Like, it started off a little bit damp, and we thought this could go either way. It could be a wet race, it could be a damp mixed race. But then just before the first race started, the sun came out and it split the stones, and I was absolutely roasting. So thankfully the sun came out, and it was a really hot day. I ended up getting some sunburn around my nose, around my ears, and I know inevitably at some stage you're going to say the race was boring because Bautista just took off up the road like he usually does, and that may be so, but the difference between standing at the side of the track and actually watching it compared to watching it on TV's night and day, yes, we understood that the actual race was inevitable as it usually is, apart from the sprint. We'll go on to that, but just being there, man, and the atmosphere just makes it a hell of a lot better. Just getting to hear the sounds and the smells, and getting to see Bautista actually riding the bike. The man's just phenomenal, just the way he's riding it, and it was really good experience. Got to see a few of the stars. Didn't get to get any pictures because they all looked very busy and very stressed, but I got to see a few of them. I can name drop as we go through the podcast, but yeah, ultimately a brilliant weekend.
Yeah, it's different when you're there.
Yeah, it's different when you're there, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm now camping when I go to Oulton Park.
Well, that's a good idea.
So,
yeah, it'd be better camping though.
It won't be, but it was the cheapest option.
Why won't it not? Why will it not be better camping? Because I was thinking about this the other day. Whenever I was in the campsite, I was thinking about you maybe going to stay in a hotel, because you're going by yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going by yourself, that's more reason why you want to camp. Because if you go in a hotel, you're going to leave and go back to the hotel and be all by yourself, just sitting in your hotel by yourself. There might be a few other people there from the bikes, but if you're camping,
camping now.
But if you're camping, you can go out into the campsite with a few beers and see somebody else that's hanging around. There's always like live entertainment and music on. You can go and watch it.
The bloke in the tent next to you might be like, "Oh, we're having a barbecue, mate. Here's a beer," and then you get chatting to him.
Or even if you don't want a beer, you can just take a bottle of water or something and hang around.
Yeah.
But you can still be around people though.
Yes, perhaps.
That's what I'd do.
Zip up my tent and just... No, you wouldn't.
Do you know what the problem is, Ash? You spent too much time with Chippy and now you've become antisocial, just like that fucking weirdo is.
Probably right.
You've been Chipatised. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yes. Anyway, should we get on to the Who Am I?
Should we crack on, because we said last week we were going to do less time on what we've been up to, and that's probably about 20
we have got
minutes
an absolute ton to get through tonight.
Yeah, but we've no feedback or any emails or anything today. So.
That's a shame.
All right, fair enough.
Oh well.
So let's get on to who am I then if we've got no feedback.
Right, yeah, no feedback. Nobody emailed us. Nobody emailed us. So thanks very much, guys. Right, let's crack on. Who am I last week, Ash?
So mine was the last week. I'm gonna have to say this again, which I still can't say it. So born in Fallen Poland. I can't say that. I just can't say it.
Popolio.
There we go.
I don't even think it's that.
Raced for Honda,
Popoli.
Ducati, and finished at Yamaha, and has never won a MotoGP championship. And if nobody's emailed in, nobody's had a guess. Sam, do you know who it is now?
Yeah, well, I've always known who it was. It was Andrea Dovizioso.
My turn this week. So the clues are, first one is, I was born in Lincolnshire in 1981. Second clue, I have raced in the British Championships but switched to road racing in 2001 following an argument with the organisers of the British Championship. And the third and final clue is, I have 17 Isle of Man TT podiums but never won a TT race.
Oh, I wonder who that could be.
Well, you've already Googled it, so you know who it is.
I didn't Google it. I knew
did.
it was straight away.
You
Bollocks.
Googled it.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, if you'd like to contact us with the email, or if you'd like to contact us and email us with the answer, it's podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. You can leave a comment, leave your name, we'll read it out in the show. Send us the answer. If you need to Google it, that's fine. It's all just a bit of fun. Right. Well, we just crack on with the show then, so that's what we're going to do.
Shall we?
The news.
The news. Right, I'm just going to start off. There's quite a bit of news. It starts off quite not nice news, and then it finishes off better news. So I'll start with the worst ones first. We're going to start with the tragic news that Dutch rider Joey Den Besten has lost his life following a crash during the formation lap of the International Road Racing Championship in Imatra. He was Supersport champion in that championship in 2014 and 2017, and runner-up in the years in between.
Yeah, it's very sad news that. Obviously our thoughts go out to all his family, friends, anyone that knew him. Yeah, there's not really much to say about that, so...
Yeah, not very nice, but yeah.
It's not very nice news. It's not very good for Dutch motorsport fans. There was another he's not a racer, so that's why it wasn't the news, but there was a young 18-year-old called Delano van de Hoft who died this weekend as well. He was a car racer. I don't know what championship he was in, but he was also Dutch, so it's been a double header for Dutch motorsport this weekend.
Yes.
Right, and the next piece of news, it doesn't get any better, does it?
No. More sad news as British Supersport rider Damon Rees has tragically passed away following a sudden and undisclosed medical condition. He was a front-runner in the New Zealand Superbike Championship and relocated to the UK in 2020 to compete in the National Superstock Championship. So again, that's quite sad. I read somewhere it was a hereditary thing, but I don't want to speculate on it. I don't know the details. But yeah,
well, once again, our thoughts are going out with family and friends and anyone else who knew him. It's not an easy time. It's not something easy to go through. I know we're not the best people in the world to talk to, but if anybody's going through anything similar and they want to send us an email and just get something off their mind to some random people that they don't know that they feel they can talk to, by all means, just send us an email. We'll not take the piss. We'll not read it out in the show unless you want us to, because we're not going to do that. But yeah, just if you need somebody to get in touch with, and it's just has to be a random, it can be us. Anyway,
yes,
definitely.
Let's pick this up a little bit. And,
yes.
This is also not really nice to just change it completely, but let's pick it up a little bit and move on.
So Carlos Tate has undergone surgery following a crash at the Junior GP at Portimao. The SAG racing team provided updates confirming the successful completion of the operation, Tatai, conscious throughout the incident, suffered damage to multiple vertebrae, but his life is thankfully not at risk. As a replacement for injured rider Rory Skinner, the 20-year-old Spaniard has recently competed in 2 Moto2 rounds for American Racing. So again, obviously, we wish our best to him. As it says, his life isn't in danger, but it's still not a nice injury. And isn't that what happened to Anna Carrasco? She had a back injury, didn't she? A few years ago. It was really bad. But yes.
Yeah, I think there's different severities of back injury. Like, you hear about some people and they're like, oh, I broke my back. And you think, oh my God. And they're like, oh no, it was fine. Then you hear about other people who, obviously, the worst happens.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Rooney or something when they break their back. Yeah, so when you hear damaged vertebrae, you automatically think the worst, but
yes,
that could. Hopefully, it's not the worst, but
yes, fingers crossed.
Time will tell, I suppose.
Yes. But yes,
right.
The next bit of news.
This next piece of news, although we weren't overly happy with it, seems like glorious news with the past news that we just had.
Yes, I mean this is the next best bit of news. Macam's Yamaha have confirmed that Tito Rabat, the former Moto2 world champion and MotoGP rider, will join their team for the next 2 BSB rounds at Snetterton and Brands Hatch. Rabat, who has also got experience in World Superbikes, will partner Jason O'Halloran following Tim Neve's decision to step back from racing for personal reasons. Alongside his BSB stint, he will continue competing in the Moto E World Championship. So I'll just put a little note here. He rode for Tag Racing Honda and rode at Thruxton in 2022. He was almost 3.5 seconds off the pace, last in 2 races, and then DNF the other. And then he had a bad start at Cadwell Park, and on the Saturday morning they parted ways with him. So I don't think he's going to do much. Apparently when he was in World Supers he didn't do anything either, but I don't remember that.
Seems so strange. I know other riders don't maybe make it as much, but I'm struggling to think of a rider that's gone backwards as much as Tito Rabat.
Yeah.
Like, he went from Moto2 champion into MotoGP, and I know he didn't set the world alight with his MotoGP career, but he's just got worse and worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like saying worse because he's obviously still a phenomenal rider, you know, in the grand scheme of things, but in terms of relative to who he's racing against, he's just...
Yeah.
What's happened?
Won any of Tito Rabat's the BSB rounds? Will that not clash with any of the MotoGP, the Moto E rounds?
I'm not sure. Well, he's only doing the next 2, so Snetterton and Brands.
Oh, right, okay. They must not have any Moto E
at the
time then.
Just for the listeners as well, on our group chat yesterday, Chippy was getting so excited once it came up on Twitter, the official McCann's Yamaha page on the British Superbike page. It was like big news at 15:30. And Chippy was just all over it. He was so excited. He was like a little kid in the candy shop, and he was.
I had so many riders coming up.
Yeah, sending us voice notes. Like, he had a whole season, a whole like plethora of silly season went through his head in about half an hour, and not once did you mention Tito Rabat.
He would never have come into my mind.
And whenever it came through, it was just flat, wasn't it?
I was so disappointed because I was thinking Richard Cooper, maybe give Franco Bourne a go. Reese Irwin. There were so many names I was thinking of, and I was like, surely it's going to be one of these. And then it was like Tito Rabat. I was like, oh.
Tim Neve was that was the lad that was next to us when we were at Knockhill, wasn't it?
No, that was Tom Neve. That's his twin brother.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
Close. 1 letter out.
But yeah, I think he raced for Steve. It was either last year or the year before Tim Neve did in Superstock. But yeah. Yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed with that announcement, to be honest. I was hoping it would be Taz McKenzie, actually, but it wasn't to be. Not yet. Maybe next season.
Right, next piece of news.
In a controversial turn of events, rumours are swirling that Yamaha and Honda may be granted concessions. This is in MotoGP. This means they could possibly have relaxed regulations, meaning they can have more testing time and develop a bike which should level the playing field. And I think Dorna are doing this partly to stop Honda and Yamaha following Suzuki out the door, because I think they're worried that they're going to pull out.
Well, I think it's good news. Well, it's definitely good news for Yamaha and Honda, definitely.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get my head around this past couple of days. And it's... I've been trying to get my head around it and just see if it sits well with me, if I agree with it or not.
I'm in the same boat, because if I was Ducati, I'd be raging, because you spent all them years struggling. Well, not struggling, but you not have the best bike, and then suddenly you've got the best bike, and now all the other teams have been given concessions and a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
That have had their chance. They've won championships.
Yeah. Go on, Ash, what you want to say?
I was just going to say, like, that's fair. I understand what you're saying, but like you say, if they don't give him some time to catch up, it's just going to be MotoGP Ducati.
Yes.
It'll just be all Ducatis.
But last year Ducati won the championship, but the year prior to that it was Yamaha. So it's not like Yamaha's last
it's not like
championship
it's leaps and
won.
bounds, is it?
Yeah, it's not like it's that far away.
And they are still getting
that's
podiums. They're about as good as Aprilia, really, this year.
Well,
they're not far off.
One. They've got one or two podiums this year. I've read somewhere in the past couple of days people talking about how COVID has affected Honda and Yamaha, and not just Honda and Yamaha. This is going into territory that I don't necessarily know. This is just snippets of headlines I've read. But how COVID has affected Japan as a whole. Like the whole Japanese economy and stuff, and it's putting pressure on, like, they're Japanese companies, so it's putting pressure on them. I saw a post today as well, I think it was Mark Marquez talking about it, or somebody on his team at least, and they were talking about how during COVID it was difficult for the Japanese manufacturers to get proper testing done because they couldn't get back to Japan to do testing as easily as what the European clubs could, or teams could, because the European teams could manoeuvre parts easier back and forward and then thus build a better bike, whereas it was really difficult for the Japanese teams to do that during COVID. And then with the pressure it's put on them financially. But I don't know if any of that's just smoke and mirrors or me just reading into it wrong. But I think that might be a reason as to why they're taking a more lenient stance towards it.
Yes, could be.
Kind of does make sense, because logistically, obviously everyone was screwed.
Yeah.
If you're having to fly and ship stuff, like you say, because in Europe they've had more chance to be able to at least drive around and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's much truth in that, but another part of me thinks, like you just said first, Chippy, that if you were Ducati, you would be thinking, that's just not fair. We've spent years trying to build a bike.
Yeah.
We've not had the championships in 2007, and now we're being punished for having done such a good job that you're going to make it easier for everybody else. But then again, Dorna want a championship.
Yeah. Plus, the idea of Yamaha and Honda getting pushed out the door like Suzuki is very sad indeed.
Yes.
And ultimately, what fans want, they want to turn up and they want to see a good race. If one team needs like a bit more help for that to happen, then that's what needs to happen. It's supposed to be entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Not in saying that, I just like watching bikes going round in circles, so I don't really care what manufacturer wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have my favourites, but I don't care ultimately. Right.
The final bit
Last
of
bit of
news.
news.
The good bit of news. Alex Lowes has re-signed with Kawasaki for the 2024 World Superbike Championship season. Now, I think this is a very sensible decision from Kawasaki, because the bike isn't where it should be, and keeping Alex will keep stability in the team and give valuable experience and insight into developing the bike for next year. But on the other side of the coin, it could be, if they got a new rider in, bringing in a fresh perspective, and maybe could develop.
I think
they were.
Like you say, it's definitely a good move for Alex Lowes, I think, by staying with Kawasaki.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him, and it probably is the best thing for Kawasaki as well.
They were talking about this at Donington. Obviously they were, the news broke. They were probably talking about it on the. Excuse me. They were probably talking about it on the TV as well. But I don't know if you picked up on it or if you heard or if I was listening to a different feed that you just couldn't hear. But one of the things they were saying was obviously Alex Lowes, when it comes to good riders and World Superbikes, he's up there with the best of the rest.
Yes.
He is. You get Hanman and Locatelli, for example, and Petrucci, who are like the best of the rest. So who are you going to get that's going to be better than Alex Lowes? Maybe somebody from MotoGP or, vice versa, that sort of stuff. But anyway, they've stuck with Alex Lowes, which is good. But for a Kawasaki point of view, it means they can start testing next year's bike almost immediately. They don't have to wait for another rider to come in and sit at the bike at the end of the year. True. They don't have to wait for that. They've got their 2 riders who they're going to have, and they can almost, like right now, start developing next year's bike.
Yes.
I'd like to make it sound like I thought of that, but I just heard other people talking about it.
Yes.
Steal it to make it sound like mine.
But that is the end of the news.
Right, so that's the news done, and are we just going to crack on with the racing? And
Yes. May as well.
Right, so on the doc, I've wrote the majority of the notes on the doc, so are you happy for me to read it out?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, on that, Ash, did you write any of the notes on the doc?
Not on the doc. No, I write my own notes, and then I've got the information here because I understand how to use these, and I can jump in when I need to jump in.
Okay.
Cool.
The reason why I don't update the doc is because it's just never good enough for anybody. So I'll just do my little bit here, and I can still talk about it.
Okay.
Well, I personally found it so much easier writing about the race when I was at the side of the track watching it. I don't know why it is with the TV, but it just seemed so much easier to sit there and while I was watching it. You know what I mean? I don't know why it was, but it just seemed. Maybe I just felt a little bit more professional.
Maybe it's because you didn't have some commentator chatting a load of crap while you're trying to.
And I think it helps that you see every bike coming past and you see every race that's going on all down the field and you see who's doing what. You're not at the director's whim as to what they want to show you and when they want to show it to you. We had a big screen next to us so you could see that stuff if you wanted to. We had the binoculars out as well so we could keep an eye on it. But yeah, you get to see the whole race and you get a real good feel for it. Was it a good race or not? And right, so this is what I wrote. Chip, you've added to a little bit of these.
Yeah, I've put in a little bit of extra.
I've tried to proofread them again, but if I stumble a little bit, please just bear with me. Right, so World Superbike Race 1. Race 1 was a good start to the weekend. The sun had come out, and any damp patches had all but gone. As always, the first race gave us a chance to see how well the teams and riders had set up their bikes, and ultimately see if anyone could take the fight to Bautista. It was a good start from Toprak, Bautista and Ray, and Alex Lowes, having secured a new contract, off to a good start, settled into 4th. Unfortunately, not a good start for Brad Ray, as he appeared to be taking out Big Gerloff. As always, it was a 10-lap race before Bautista found a steady pace and inevitably stretched the lead. Bautista won, Toprak got 2nd, and Ray came 3rd. Alex Lowes, towards the end, slipped down behind Petrucci, who finished 4th, and Locatelli, who finished 5th. Sykes was ahead of Redden for a good part of the race, but Redden got him towards the end. They finished 8th and 9th respectively. I thought it was a decent result for the BMWs, that is. Chippy also thought that Sykes had a good race, but last year in BSB's pretty sure at Donington, it was the only round he really turned up to.
Yeah.
So maybe he just likes the track.
Yeah, I think he just goes well around there.
Apparently that's where Scott Redden won his first 125 or Moto 3. I'm not sure if it was 125 at the time, but that's where he won his first championship race. So he also likes the track.
Yeah.
Rinaldi finished 13th, and this is I wrote this, considering the bike he's on is a championship winning bike, and Rinaldi's supposed to be the number 2 rider. I personally just don't think 13th is good enough.
It's not good enough, but didn't he have a moment?
He had technical issues.
Technical issues. I can't remember what happened. I can't remember if he came off.
Yeah, he had something wrong with his bike, and then he carried on going, but he did have issues with it.
Well, I would let you use that as an excuse, but the sprint
I know
race
what you mean.
He didn't do much better, so
yeah,
he didn't have a great weekend, did he? But on that bike, you should be expecting him to be up there with the other lads, really.
Yes.
fighting for a podium at least.
I
Well,
agree.
even if it's not a podium, you think top 5 or 6. Like, you should be up
Yeah.
around. You should be
Definitely
beating
should
Petrucci for a start.
His rival really
You'd
should be
expect.
Alex Lowe's. Of like
Yeah.
who's the best
Yeah,
number
he's
2
a,
rider.
yeah, because you've got Locatelli, Lowe's, Petrucci, the
Yes.
number 2s.
It
Yeah.
was a phenomenal
And
pass Johnny Ray did on Toprak. It was so ballsy, but it was good.
Was that in race 1?
Yes. It was
I think.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't remember where that was. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I just can't remember where it was. Probably the Melbourne Loop. Although saying that, Toprak goes well around that Melbourne Loop.
Yeah, I remember
the
in
first
race 2.
I'm pretty sure. It's definitely the first race because I was like at one point because it looked as though when they passed each other, it must have been like that far off the
Yes.
tyres hitting because it was like woof, and I was like, I thought they were going to wipe each other out. It was alright race 1, to be fair. Obviously, we knew who was going to win, but
Yes, it was inevitable.
Well, like I say, for the first few laps, you never know.
for the start of the race, it was great. The start of the race was fantastic, but then towards the end, my last note that I put was, race started out great, but now it's just back to normal.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wrote the notes for the race, and I put there's still 13 laps to go, but I'm just going to write Bautista's already won, and I got it all right. I wrote my notes before it had happened because it was that predictable. Yes.
Yeah, it is. But like I was saying, whenever you're at the side of the track, you know it's just as predictable. You can see it happening in front of you. I'm not stupid. Like, we can see it happening, but it's just to see Bautista ride the bike the way he does. It's like a privilege just to get to see him going around. The guy is absolutely phenomenal. He came by us he came past us, and like where the apex. There's like a first apex to Hollywood, and then there's a coming out of it. There's like a second one that takes you down into the Craner curves, and they're just banked over on the side of the tyre for so long, and then they're going downhill, and it is absolutely incredible watching them do that. Like I was saying to my mate, I was like, look when they lean over, and look how long they're on the side of the right hand tyre, and then they're going downhill at the same time, and they're not taking it easy, and it's just phenomenal watching them do it. I could have watched it all day. Just watch Bautista ride around there all day, even on his own. Just send him out testing, and I would sit there and watch him. It was so good.
I've got a question for you, Chippy. So, MotoGP, right? When Marquez was in his prime and he was winning every single race, checking out every single race, and you were loving it. Why is it different with Bautista winning every race in World Superbikes for you?
I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of Bautista.
Right, so it's just a rider.
It is. I mean, I don't dislike him. I just don't really feel a connection. But there's also more with Marquez as well. I like how professional he is. I like how he gets on everybody's nerves. I like his tactics.
Right. Okay, I just wondered because obviously
there's a lot I like
Bautista
about
is basically World Superbikes Marquez, really.
Yeah, I see what
And
you
you hated
mean
it.
with his the way he's dominating.
Well, I would argue that Johnny Ray was World Superbikes Marquez, but there you go.
Yes.
Well, at the moment.
At the moment, yes.
Yeah. Obviously, we all love Johnny Ray.
I do miss Johnny Ray just absolutely
I do as
annihilating the championship.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't say it's boring because Bautista goes off and wins every race. Whenever Johnny Ray won 6 championships, almost, not quite, but he barely had a rival. Like he did, but there was the first year. Okay, he won it. Nobody knew he was going to win it. The second year, he looked strong, but it got to a stage, and in the middle of them 6 years, it got to a stage where you're like, Johnny Ray's going to win this. And he did, and I loved it. It was class. I loved it. It was brilliant.
Yes. If he wasn't British, I'd have hated it.
Yeah. And like from my perspective, it was even better because how many sports stars does Northern Ireland really have? McIlroy. That's it.
Yeah.
Johnny Ray. There are other ones. There's like boxers and stuff, and people will be screaming at the podcast about other people that we've got. George Best. Right, we move on to race 2, or the sprint race.
Sprint race is next on the dock. Yes.
I wrote this one out as well. You see the way I've wrote them like I'm writing a little article. Oh, I should be a journalist.
Yes.
Right. After race 1, Ray said he wasn't sure how much he could push the tyres, and he held back. He thinks that he held back a little bit too much in the first race. This gave him, and inevitably us, a bit of hope for the sprint, and the hope that he could push the tyres for the duration of the race. It was another good start from everyone. Ray and Toprak appeared to be working together to try and gain a few bike lengths in the championship leader, and it seemed to be working, but towards the end, Bautista started to grow a little stronger, and inevitably Toprak made a move or two on Ray because he's there to try and win the race. And having led the whole race, Ray ended up finishing third behind Toprak, who did finish first, which was good. And Bautista, who finished second. Like I say, needless to say, Donington Park erupted with the Toprak win. He is a fan favourite, and let's be honest, we're all tired, like we just said, Bautista winning and being dominant. It was a great race. Not won by Bautista meant it. Oh yeah, sorry. It was a great race, and because Bautista didn't win the race, he didn't break Johnny Ray and his own record of 11 wins in a row. But given one or two more laps, Chippy, you agree with me, probably Ash as well, that Bautista would have ended up winning that race.
Yes.
Most likely, yeah.
But it's a 10 lap race, so it's alright saying Bautista would have did this if he had more laps, but there only was 10 laps, and they all knew there was only 10 laps when he took off, so you can only race the laps that's there, and Toprak beat him.
Yes.
It was another frustrating ride for Lowe's. Yeah, it was another frustrating ride for Lowe's, who once again got off to a good start, but inevitably got passed by Petrucci and Locatelli, but this time it was Locatelli in 4th and Petrucci in 5th, and again Lowe's finished in 6th. Gerloff and the BMW finished in 7th, and Redden got 9th. Brad Ray finished in 12th. It was a good result. And Rinaldi once again underperformed, finishing in 17th. Did he have technical problems that time?
No.
Or was there something wrong with the bike?
Not that time. Unless it was something that was an issue from before, I don't know. But
yeah, there is something an issue. Rinaldi's riding the bike. That was what the issue
was. It is disappointing. It's disappointing to see.
Because a few rounds ago he was right up the top.
Yeah, I don't rate him.
Bassani kept knocking him off.
Bassani should have had that ride.
Did
you think this Bassani
made?
What's that, sorry?
Did you see the pass that Redding made on Agatha towards the end?
I can't remember it.
That's pretty cool, that was. He was proper good.
Unless it was at Hollywood or Crane of Curves, I'm not really going to have seen it.
No, but it was fucking awesome. It was very gutsy.
Yes.
It's nice to see Redding starting to enjoy that BMW, actually. He's even said himself he's starting to enjoy it more.
Yeah, but of course he's going to say that because it's silly season.
Well, we'll
he's trying. Yeah, we'll get on to that. And like we did mention, he does like Donington Park. It's a favourite of his. He's got a good.
Go on, you were saying something about Bassini. Or is it Bassani?
Bassani.
Oh, it's just Bassani. I was just going to say, do you think does Bassani walk into Rinaldi's truck before every race and just kind of look at him and glare at him? Be like, fucking stay back there, I'll take you again.
I think he should have had Rinaldi's ride last year. I really do.
Rinaldi went past us. I was down at the the merch tents down at not the domestic side, but down at the area where all the trucks and stuff are, where they sell all the merch and stuff. Down near the paddocks, and walking through there a couple of times, and Rinaldi came past once in this little scooter. And he had this girl on with him, and he looked so cool. He is a good-looking bastard, that Rinaldi. He is. He went past me, and I knew exactly who it was because he was wearing a Ruby Ducati. I knew it wasn't. Beluga, and I knew it wasn't obviously Bautista. And I was like, that must be Rinaldi. And I was like, fucking hell, he's gorgeous. But he wouldn't whizzing by me. I never even get a chance to try and stop or get a pick or anything. Yeah, but I saw him a couple of times.
Yeah, it's very good when you see him. I think my highlight of the BSB was when we were in Asden. Dean Harrison was next to us.
It's self-serve.
It's self-serve, yeah.
At one stage I was down and I saw Alex Lowe's, and he was talking to some guy like he was giving him directions, and as soon as he turned around it was like he was trying to run away. You could tell he was in a hurry. It was between the sprint race had already happened and we were waiting for race 2. I think we were, at least. And there was another group of Irish lads, and then there was me, and I was like, "Oh, Alex, can I get a pic?" And just as I said it, and other people said it, he looked at them and he looked at me, but there was 5 of them, so he went over to them and he had his picture taken. And I was with my mate, and he's like, "Ask him again," and I was like, "No, the man's fucking." You can tell he just doesn't want to be here. It's not that he's not being nice or he's not being friendly. He's just obviously got stuff in his mind. The guy's about to like whiz round Donington in his Kawasaki, and I was like, no, he's got somewhere he wants to be. You can tell he wants to get away, so I just let him go. I never pestered him because.
At least he sort of looked at you, not like Chippy. He was like, "Oh, Tommy." Hey up me, how are you, lad? We just got ignored.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
I've seen a lot of the same faces you've seen. Like John McGuinness was there, went past him. But again, he was in the rush because he was going down to do interviews and hand trophies over. And
yeah, I managed to grab him when he was when he's popped his head out of a pit to see if everyone had buggered off from the pit walk, and then he thought he was safe, but he wasn't safe. I was there. Yeah, overall, I thought the sprint race was probably the best race of the weekend.
I think it was good to see somebody taking it to
Toprak, yeah.
Toprak.
Yeah, it was good to see Toprak win. It's a shame Johnny didn't win it. That would have been amazing, but I was just glad.
I was so frustrated for him that he led pretty much the whole race and then just. But you think he was leading the whole race and Toprak was just there, and like Toprak obviously was playing the smart game and he wasn't trying to disrupt Johnny, and he thought, we'll just play at this game and try and get away from Bautista and see what's happening. And then Bautista grew a little bit stronger, the fuel load went down or the tyres come into it or whatever, or maybe he was just biding his time, just got it a little wrong. But
Johnny and Alex were both using the harder front tyre though, and they were the only people to do that.
Who was that, Johnny and Alex?
Yeah. Everyone else was on the softer front tyre. So maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know. Maybe if they'd gone for the softer, he might have got it.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe. Like after the first race they interviewed Johnny Ray, and like I mentioned in there, he said that he wasn't sure how far he could have pushed his tyres, and he says inevitably he thinks he could have pushed him a bit more, so we kind of thought in the sprint that he would go out, but then I don't know, maybe use a different tyre in sprint because they're not going out for 10 laps, but yeah. Well, excuse me, but ultimately, like we know, the Kawasaki is just, it's not a bad bike. It's not like Honda is in MotoGP.
No,
it's just, and it's not the rider's fault. It's obviously Ducati have just made them leaps and bounds. Like, doesn't matter what championship you're in, Ducati have made leaps and bounds. And I think that again means that Toprak, apart from one race where he was taken out, has finished in the podium in every race, which is pretty good as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
And he's 1-2 now. We just move on to race 2.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I didn't make a lot of notes for this because I'll be honest, I got a little bit bored.
You were making your pizza.
All right.
I was making my pizza as well. Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Because I'm fat and I eat pizza. I just thought I'd say it before you two did.
You said it, not me.
Well, you always say it, so I just got there before you.
Right, let me read this. After both Toprak and Ray seemed to find something in the sprint, it looked like race 2 was going to be a much tighter event. The first lap saw a pretty heavy crash involving Sykes, Baz and Rinaldi, bringing out a red flag. The race restarted again, and again the first 10 to 12 laps or so there was a bit of a race. At the front, Toprak was determined to stick with Bautista, but in the end, the champion on the Aruba Racing Panigale VR4 Ducati was too much and he stretched the lead. Toprak was comfortable in second. Ray and Lowe's had a good race, but Lowe's never seemed to have the pace to overtake the 6-time world champion. However, once again, Petrucci came to spoil the party. He took over both Kawasaki's this time, and Petrucci finished in third. For me, the most impressive result of the whole weekend, again, this is my opinion, was Redden finishing in fourth in the BMW. I think that was a fantastic ride from him to get the BMW at fourth. And at one stage, it did look like there was about 3 or 4 laps left, and he was pushing, and we actually thought he was going to catch Petrucci and get a podium, which would have been even great, but ultimately even to get fourth I think was great. I realise I'm saying great a lot. And Ray was fifth and Lowe's finished sixth. That was the third time in the third race of the weekend that Alex Lowe's finished sixth, so I'm sure he was fed up hearing that at the end.
Yes. But yeah, that crash at the start, that was bad. I mean, I messaged you about Tom Sykes' injuries. 10 broken ribs. And was it like 3 of them broke in 2 places?
Yeah, something like
that must be so painful.
Because it happened, and obviously they didn't show it on the screen. And we were like, this looks pretty bad, because they're still down there looking at it. You know, the same sort of conversations you have when you're at the side of the track. You're like, who has it, who's walked away, who's doing what. And then eventually they did show it, and I wasn't sure, because you know the way I was sitting there looking at my program or something, and somebody was like nudging me, and they're like, oh, they're seeing it up there, and I looked up and I just seen one of the riders on the floor.
Yeah. And
I was like, who's that? Was that Tom Sykes that was on the floor?
Well, Rinaldi was the one who was receiving all the attention and that.
Yeah,
he was the one who looked the worst off.
And the actual crash, was it Tom Sykes that came off?
He high-sided,
He looked like the one that had the worst crash, but ultimately Rinaldi's come out of it the worst. I've not heard anything about Rinaldi's condition or what's...
No, I've not yet. I heard he went straight to hospital.
We've seen him getting treatment. Well, we've seen him get treatment. We've seen people around him giving him treatment, and then obviously getting in an ambulance and being taken away. Yeah,
well, from what I've heard, he went straight to hospital. Sykes went to the med centre. So I think they were worried about Rinaldi, but I don't know what. Yeah. They're all conscious, which is good. But I don't know what. That was a
horrible crash.
It was.
It looked awful.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything about it. In fact, I'll give it a Google, see if there's anything been said about it.
What about Loris Baz? We heard anything about Loris Baz?
I think he was alright. Or did he got
walk away from it?
Yeah, I think he was generally alright. But keep talking among yourselves, and I'll try and find out about Rinaldi.
Going back to...
Had a banging great start, though. Like, a really good start. Straight out of the gate.
Well, he had a decent sprint race, didn't he? He finished seventh in the sprint, so BMW did all right this weekend. And like I say,
he didn't do too badly at all.
Like I say, Scott Redden finished in fourth.
Yeah,
that's a good result for him, and
it is.
I hope it means that showing some progression with the bike, and that might be happening just at the right time for Toprak to come in. And the fact that in the first race, Sykes was ahead of Scott Redden for quite a lot of the race, but then Redden pipped him at the post. So apart from the sprint race, I think Gerloff was the highest BMW in the sprint race, but apart from that, Scott Redden's been consecutively the highest. You got something for us, Chippy?
I do. Rinaldi has put something, I don't know if it's on Instagram or Twitter. There's a picture of him in like a sort of bedside thing. He's got a crutch and an ice pack on his ankle, and he says, "Not much to say except the bad luck we were in the bad luck we were lucky today. Tom crashed in front of me and I braked to avoid riding into him. Unfortunately, Baz couldn't slow down and he hit me. From then on, I only remember the doctors next to me. For that, I want to thank all my team, all of them, and my family. See you at Imola." So he's going to be at Imola. But yeah, he's just got a crutch and ice pack on his ankle, so hopefully he's not too smashed up.
Is Imola a few weeks away or something, is it?
I think it's the next one.
Well, I suppose ultimately motorcycle racing is like any other sport, or well, more so. But you know what it's like in football and rugby stuff, because footballers and rugby, they just do not care. But now if you get a bang in the head, you can't move them, you can't do anything. Even in football, if you get a bang in the head, it could be 10 minutes before they get you off to the side of the pitch.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same in motorbike racing. It's like, regardless of if, like, you know, I say inverted commas, if it's only a broken ankle or something, if they think you're concussed, they're not going to move you straight away. So maybe from that sense, it looked worse than what it actually was, which is good. I'm glad to hear. But
Yes.
yeah, I feel bad for Tom Sykes. So them are horrendous. 10 broken ribs.
Oh, apparently one.
Wow.
I've never had a broken rib, but apparently just having one, it like you can't do anything. Like it hurts to breathe. Apparently.
You can't.
I think
nothing you can do to mend it. You've just got to.
Yeah.
Let it.
I think I broke a rib when I was 14 or 15. I was on the school bus and we were all messing around, and we were. I can't mind what happened, but some of us were trying to open the skylight and some of us were trying to close the skylight, and we were fighting with each other and we were climbing over the seats, and I think the bus driver just had enough and he hit the brakes. And I went flying and smashed the middle of my torso into the butt end of the seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, for months, for a good few weeks at least, but it felt like months, my side was an absolute agony. Every time I did like any sort of exercise, or I'd get up in the morning and I'd be like, oh God. And I genuinely think I broke a rib.
Probably did, or cracked one at least.
Yeah, and it was horrible. Fucking bus driver.
Should have been messing about then, should you?
Yeah, serves you right, to be fair.
No, I got kicked off the bus a few times.
I bet you did.
Yeah. I found this rotten apple once and I threw it at somebody and I missed him completely, and it went up and hit the little bit, you know, the little bit where all the change goes into in the bus. And it was a rotten apple and it hit it and it just splattered everywhere, and I was like, oh my God. And the bus driver stopped and he was letting people out, and we were about 3 or 4 miles from my house, and he was like, I can't mind if he swore, but in my memory he swore. He was like, you get the fuck off the bus. And I was like, wah wah wah, everybody banging the window at me as he drive off. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? I can't ring my dad, he'd fucking kill me.
Yes.
Guess I would just walk
Chippy
home.
would have been on that bus like, oh, bloody yobbos again.
Yeah, I
Yes.
probably would have hated people on the bus like that.
Yes, that's probably what I was.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Anything else on race 2? Or are we moving on to the Super Sport?
Alright, nothing else.
I don't really have anything else for race 2. Like, it's the World Superbikes. It's like I say, it was
very same old, really,
Yeah.
except from that crash, of course. Yeah, Bautista.
yeah, it was the same old. It just kind of seems to go the same way. It's like it is fairly not boring, but it's a lot better. Like I say, when you're at the side of the track, you get to watch them going around and hear them and smell them, and you're there with all the crowd and they're all clapping and cheering. But
Yes.
yeah, ultimately it's World Superbike. There's not really much to say. Right, I've wrote a few notes for the Super Sport, so I will crack on with it. Right. What is there really to say about the World Super Sport? Balega dominated it from start to finish as usual, and in race 1, Manzi never looked to have an answer for the Panigale V2 rider. There were some good battles going on further down, but honestly I didn't take many notes because by this time on the Saturday afternoon I was a little pissed. Balega came first, Manzi came second, and Montella came third. And then I wrote down what the British riders did, at least the ones that finished. Tom Booth Amos came 8th. I've asked if that's a good result. And Rhys Irwin came 16th, Jack Kennedy came 18th, and McPhee came 20th. Now I know McPhee isn't on the greatest package, and maybe I'm naive, but I thought he'd be performing a little bit better than this. Remembering that he has already won a World Supersport race earlier on in the year, albeit a wet race, but he did show some potential, and now he's finishing the British round in 20th.
Yeah, I was expecting more from John McPhee.
I was hoping for more. I didn't think he was going to be amazing, but I thought he'd be better than this.
Yeah, not good.
I thought he would have been. I honestly, like I say, maybe I was being naive, but I thought he would have been scratching at top 10 most rounds.
That's where I thought he'd be, around 10th.
Now, I hear a lot of people saying, I'd agree, he's maybe not on the best package, and maybe he needs a year to settle into it, but that first round when he came out, it was a wet race and he won the race. Like, I know it was wet, but I think that gave us a little bit of too much optimism. We were like, oh, John McPhee could be like, he could be a bit of a contender here, because obviously he's coming from like a Moto 3, and you could argue
I think we all got excited, didn't we?
But it's a British round. If he's going to, but then again, in his previous paddock, he didn't really go to Donington Park, so maybe he doesn't know it. Just because it's a British round doesn't mean he knows it that well.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
Do you want to read out? Do you want me to read out race 2 before you have any rants, Chippy? Or
yeah, go on then. We'll
Right, World Supersport race 2. I don't think I was as pissed for this one, so my notes might be a little bit better. Got a little bit drunk, didn't I? On the Saturday at least. Right, so bit, World Supersport race 2. Race 2 provided a little bit more excitement. Although Billiga checked out as usual, there was more going on further back, mostly thanks to Manzi. Going by the way he rode, I personally think that the Yamaha YZF R6 rider must have found something after race 1. He must have had a little bit extra, because he was whizzing round that track. However, race 2 was disastrous and phenomenal in equal parts. He slid out of second place, but somehow managed to remount and get back in the track, and he was only in 7th. He quickly caught up to the top 5, but an aggressive overtake at Hollywood, which we got to see firsthand, it was class, saw him receive a long lap penalty. Obviously it was a little naughty, but when you're standing there like, yeah, go and get into him. In the end, he brought it home in the 5th. He was 11.5 seconds behind Billiga, and I'm curious as to how much time he actually lost in that race with the long lap penalty, the crash. Now obviously you could say Billiga nursed it home, so he could have went a bit quicker, but I am curious as to how much time Manzi lost in that.
Well, he smashed that long lap loop. He couldn't have done that any better. Yeah. He did that really well.
He could have done it like a Costa and done it a little bit better and got away with it.
Yeah.
So finished that with Billiga came first, Montella came third, Karik Asulu, who I don't think's having a great season, he came third, Tom Booth Amos came 6th, again I'm asking, good result. Rhys Irwin came 15th, Jack Kennedy came 17th, McPhee came 18th, and Mackenzie finished this race and came in 23rd. Also, I'd like to mention that Jack Kennedy, he was chilling out on Friday night when he received a call from the Evan Bross World Supersport team asking if he wanted to ride the R6 at Donington. I know his results weren't amazing, but considering how little time he had to actually switch on, I think he had a great weekend.
Yeah,
just to be able to come out and compete. You know, just to come out and compete and go round the track at them speeds without any real testing or any real notification blows my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get nervous just riding my little 125 to work, and there he is.
Yeah, he did do well.
Right. Chippy, I know you've got something on your chest. I don't know exactly what it is.
He gets that weird smirk on his face, doesn't he? You can tell when
he did. Yeah. He did say he wanted to have a rant, and I think I know who it's about. So
it is a
Chippy,
little
famous.
This started.
Chippy, the floor is yours. You go for it.
Yes. Well, it started at Knock Hill. I saw an interview with Tom Booth Amos. I mean, I've never been a massive fan of him anyway, but he had an interview and he was very, very cocky. And he was like, I'm here to win, I'm not here to finish second, which is fair enough. I know a lot of riders are like that. But in British Supersport, yes, he is that good. But he gets to World Supersport with the same attitude. And he's expecting to like finish first in that. So when Sam's asking, like, he got an 8th place finish, is that good? Well, no. Even by his own standards, he wants to win, not finish second, let alone 8th. So, yeah. I'm finding him more and more irritating as time goes on. Don't know what it is. I just find him very cocky and wow, yes.
Here's a question.
Jake Dixon. Go on.
No, I know. Go on, ask your question.
Jake Dixon or Tom Booth Amos?
Jake Dixon. I like Jake Dixon more.
Okay.
Well,
You don't know how much you don't like him.
Yeah.
Here's a question that maybe shows my ignorance a little bit. Tom Boythamos, is he in? He's not in World Supersport, is he?
He is, yeah.
Or is it just
He's doing both World Supers and British.
He is doing both?
Yes.
Right. So I couldn't remember because the World Superbikes doesn't come around that often.
Yes.
Not like the MotoGP. And the World Supersport, I don't keep my finger on the pulse as much. So, yeah, if he's wild carding, it's a good result. If he's doing it week in, week out, racing against these guys, pretending to be Billy Big Bollocks, then in your home round you would expect him to be doing a bit better. However, I don't really see it. I know he finished 6th, but I can't really see anybody beating Bullock anyway, so...
No, he's very good.
Yes. That's my little rant about Tom Booth Amos. Anyway.
How long has he been in the World Supersport paddock?
A couple of years, because he was in Moto 3. He was the lad that got battered by that mechanic, and I'm starting to understand why.
About this, yeah.
Obviously, that's a joke. It's not good for anybody to get battered, but I can sort of see the mechanic side of it. But yeah, I think then he moved to World Supersport. I think he's done a bit in the British paddock. But yeah, I think he's mostly World Supersport for a couple of years. But never really done anything. Well, quite a big ego, I think. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But there was a lot of Brits wildcarding this weekend. Obviously, we had Taz McKenzie, he's not wildcarding, but he had another disastrous weekend on that Honda. John McPhee, another disastrous weekend. Jack Kennedy, we've already mentioned. Rhys Irwin, I thought, did brilliantly. He was the only Suzuki on the grid.
He got points in one of the races, didn't he? He came 15th, didn't he? Got
race
points.
2, he came 15th.
Yeah.
Race 2, yeah.
So yeah, I think
that was
he's
his first World Superbike points, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's made a name for himself. I think I really like him in British. Is he British Supersport? I'm pretty sure he's British.
Race 1, he came 16th. He just missed out. I see, Chippy, that you've corrected my grammar because I spelt his name wrong.
Yes, I have. But yeah, I thought he had a really good weekend. Who else? I swear there was more than that wildcarding. What was that?
I did have a look today, but I think some of them just didn't finish. Hold on a little second, I'll see if I've still got it up. Right. Oh, I also have a little question for you as well, which just something I'd like to run past you, just as a bit of a little bit of fun, just a little bit of a question. Right, World Super Sport, race 2, the ones that didn't finish there was a McManus didn't finish, Irish fella, and True Love.
Ah, True Love, yes. Yeah. It's a shame for him.
Yeah. And then race 1, there was True Love and McManus and McKenzie who didn't finish, but then McKenzie finished race 2. Right, are you on the Superbike page or anything, Chippy?
I can be.
No, don't be, because
Okay.
I want to ask you a
I
question.
won't be.
Well, you can be, but just don't look. Right. So far this season, this is for both of you now. So far this season, how many laps in total do you think Bautista has led for? Bearing in mind every race, we're at what, round 5, round 6? Is it round 5?
Are you allowed to tell us how many laps has been in total?
Oh, I'd need to work that out.
He'd need to work it out, wouldn't he? So there's been 6 rounds.
How long? Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
I'm just trying to work it out in my head now.
Bear in mind each feature race.
There's
different lengths.
approximately, I'm going to say approximately now because it might not be exact. There's been 277 laps.
I'm going to say he's led for... He doesn't usually start that well. I'm going to say about 235.
What do you think, Ash?
I'm going to go a bit more than that. I'm going to say 245.
Oh, the answer is 221 laps.
Ooh.
That's still amazing, though.
That is, yeah.
That's class.
Raz Gatioglu has led for 35 laps. Johnny Ray has led for 29 laps. And there's one other rider who's led for 12 laps. Who do you think that is? I love these little games. You can be playing along at home if you're listening to this as well before we give the answer. Play along.
I was thinking either Alex Lowe's or Locatelli.
Yeah, I'm going to say Locatelli.
Well, I'm going to go Alex Lowe's then.
This is obviously going to shock you a little bit. Ronaldo.
Alright. You know, to be fair, he has had a few. He's had a. Yeah.
I only noticed this today. I was looking at the results, and you can look at all the details. Do you want to do it with World Supersport as well? Or do you like this little game?
Yes.
So obviously we know that Bulliga's led most of the races. He's led most of the laps. So let's try and work this out. There's been 10, 31, 26, 40, 54.
This is just numbers.
72.
There's been 196 laps because obviously they've got less races. There's been 196 laps. How many has Bulliga led?
I'm going to go quite high on this. I'm going to say
Bulliga, how many is?
I would say 175.
Ash?
I'm going to say 185.
You just always go higher in the hope that he's done. There's been 190 something laps. You think he's led 185? He's led 141.
I thought it'd be
You're going too high. Who do you think was second?
Second,
Manzi.
Yeah, I would have said Manzi.
No, second
Mantovani.
is Canon. No, Canon Tune. Mantovani's not even in the top 6.
Is he not? I thought he was better
No,
than that.
third is Sofoglu.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Fourth is Manzi. Fifth was Karakazulu. With right, so Canon Tu's got 28 laps. Sofoglu's got 15 laps. Manzi's got 11 laps. Karakazulu's got 8 laps. Michael Schrotter has led for 1 lap.
Where's John McPhee? John McPhee's got to be on this list.
Yeah.
No.
Right, shall we get on to... have we finished, or are we going on silly season?
Is that their next part of the show?
It's the next part of the show.
We can't start silly season until we have the silly season tune.
You can't, and you caught me off
have
guard.
Have we got a silly season tune now, have we?
Well, if you've not been listening to the podcast, we've had a little silly season tune for a while now.
Yes, just doesn't pick it up on the microphones when you record.
I haven't finished the last couple, to be honest.
Well, I'm disappointed.
I listened to them quite a lot today because I was trying to figure out a little bit for silly season. I was trying to listen back to something that I could get myself.
Yes. Anyway, I've got the theme song now.
It doesn't play. It only plays through on the recording, but we can't make it. We're such a professional podcast. We're so shit.
Yes. Yes. So
But we have
listeners
fun,
can hear
so who
it,
gives a
but
fuck?
you can't.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? We have fun.
Well, I've split this into 2, and I notice, again, nobody else has added to this. It just seems to be what I've put on there. But I've split it into MotoGP and World Supers. So starting with the first one, both the Marquez brothers at Gresini Ducati. What do you think of that?
Yes. Well,
I personally don't think Marc Marquez is going to move. I think he's going to stay at Honda. I know that's boring, but I think that's what's going to happen.
well, I said to you before, didn't I? Alex Marquez has very much been sat in Marc Marquez's shadow for a long time. Even though Mark does say that Alex is the better rider than him. I think if they both go to Gresini, it'd be quite cool just to see Alex getting in front of Mark.
Do you think that
I know if Marc Marquez goes to Gresini, that would be very exciting. But I read an article and they were talking about, I think it was on MCN, and they were giving a rundown about where they think they could go, the top 6. And they said the top one, and I agree with it the way they read the article. I agreed with them as they were like, most likely he's probably just going to stay where he's at. Because if he goes somewhere, he's going to sign a 1-2 year contract, and he might want to go to KTM. And KTM, I know we're going on to other stuff, but KTM might want him, and they might just wait for the inevitable 2025.
Yes. Because the more I think about it, the more I think most of silly season isn't going to happen, and most of the riders are just going to stay where they are now. Because it usually
that's
happens.
why it's called silly season. That's why it's called silly season, because everybody gets a little bit silly.
Yes.
Right,
Move on. Well, it wouldn't be silly season without silly season favourite Franco Morbidelli popping up. Also linked with Grassini.
Yes, but the reason Morbidelli's name keeps cropping up is because he's been linked with everybody. He's been everywhere. He's been all around the world and all around every paddock and every team with silly season.
Yes.
It would be very anticlimax if Morbidelli ended up just staying at Yamaha.
Yeah. I can't see it. I can't see him staying there. I think it'd be good for Yamaha if he stayed there. But yeah.
Be a decent move to go to Grassini though, but I think Grassini's struggling at the minute because they obviously got a Ducati, so they got a bike that should be up there. And at the beginning of the season, Alex Marquez looked to be doing that, and I know Fabio Di Gianantonio, we were never sure if he was going to mount any sort of challenge or not, but at the start of the season, Alex Marquez was proven he could ride the bike, and now they've just kind of fallen off the edge of a cliff. So yeah, maybe Morbidelli going there might inject them with some well-needed fire in the belly and be good for both of them.
Personally, I can't see that one happening.
Okay.
But yes. The next one, KTM are supposedly not allowed 6 bikes on the grid next year, which I don't understand why when Ducati are allowed 8, but anyway.
Yeah.
And with Pol Espargaro contracted until the end of 2024, it means only Augusto Fernandez can leave. KTM supposedly want Marquez and Acosta, but may have to wait until 2025 for Marquez.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they have to wait until 2025 to Marquez, that means Marquez might just stay at Honda, because if he goes somewhere else, he can possibly... first of all, he would have to break a contract with Honda to leave. And then he would go, let's just say he went to Grassini, and Grassini were like, well, we're going to sign you into a 2-year contract. He then has to break that contract to go to KTM.
Yes.
So would it not just be easier to keep a contract with Honda, wait for it to run out, and then start a new contract with KTM in 2025?
Yes.
Probably.
I think he'll stay there.
KTM not allowed 6 bikes on the grid. I would say that's because financially they can only have so many bikes on the grid.
Possibly. I don't know the ins and outs of it.
And with Primac and Grassini and all already having signed their deals with Ducati, in order for KTM to have more bikes on the grid, they'd probably have to bring another team in, and that would put more bikes on the grid, which they can't afford. So that's probably why they're not allowed 6 bikes. It's not that they're not allowed 6 bikes, they're just that the grid's at capacity. I think the question is, why is Ducati allowed to have so many bikes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is kind of the point you made, Chippy. I understand that. Just phrased in a different way.
So moving on to World Superbikes, Tom Sykes having a permanent ride at the factory BMW, and that would obviously be alongside Toprak. What do you make of that?
I don't see why not. I don't see why they wouldn't have him.
I can't see it myself personally.
Because if this week's anything to go by, Scott Redden outperformed him in every race, so why would they not have Scott Redden? I think if Scott Redden's not looking to move away from BMW, I can't see why BMW would push him out.
Yeah.
I think they would have Scott before they would have Michael van der Mark.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against Michael van der Mark. He's a decent rider. I just think Scott Redden's got a bit more potential, and well, he's been around all last season. I know it's because of Van der Mark's injury, but that might help. And he's scraping at the door of a podium.
Yeah.
After this week, so
I can't.
That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, I can't see Tom Sykes having a ride anywhere next year.
Well, it depends how long he's going to be out for at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it's only some broken ribs. It'll be fine by the end of...
Oh, yeah, it'll be fine, Chippy, yeah.
Well, it's only broken ribs. It's not like it takes months for him to heal.
Yeah, but you say that, I think it'll be fine, but... Yeah, but he's a motorbike rider. You know, these guys are like... If they can get up and basically walk down the stairs, they're going to jump on the bike and ride.
Yes.
I remember years ago, Jorge Lorenzo, I think he broke one ankle and cracked or shattered the other one. And he couldn't even walk without crutches, but somehow he managed to get on the bike and he went out and won a race. And it was so bad he couldn't even walk from Park Ferme up to the podium. He had to get crutches and people to help him up.
Yes.
But he still could ride the bike and he won the race. That was when he was like at his peak. Crazy what these guys will do. Like, they don't care how beat up and battered and bruised they are. And like Tom Sykes, he's not going out to, well, I know he'd like to win races, but he's not necessarily going out to win races. He just loves riding the bike really fast, which is commendable. That's just what he loves doing. I would say if he can get on that bike and ride it, regardless of how much pain he's in, he'd probably do it, because why not? That's what they're like. The guys are mental. Thank you, mental men, and ladies, of course, for providing us with some hairy entertainment.
Yes. So the next one, Moto Corsa Ducati, rumoured to be running 2 bikes next year and having Andrea Iannone alongside Danilo Petrucci.
That sounds pretty cool.
I'd be quite happy with that. It'd be good to see.
Yeah, Petrucci's he's doing alright at the moment.
He is. And there was
I think...
Start.
I know I've not put it on here because I don't really add to silly season. I just let you run with it, Chippy, and I'll just add in as and when I fail. I think Petrucci is the best bet for Bulliga's teammate next year. Or not Bulliga's, Bautista's teammate next year.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah.
I personally think Bassani still. Although saying that, he's not performed as well as I thought he would this year.
And Petrucci's a decent rider. It's his first year in World Superbikes. He just needs time to get to learn the tracks. Because this was his first time ever coming to Donington Park to race at it.
Yes.
And he got a podium. He got third. So
Yeah.
Did you see that there was an interview with him and they said about him going to British Superbikes, and I can't remember how he said it, but he basically didn't rule it out.
no, he didn't say no.
Yeah. I think it'd be class. And then I think Stuart Higgs, who runs BSB, then put out a tweet saying we welcome you any time or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be amazing to see him there.
Yeah, but I think he could be an Aruba Ducati rider next year.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, Bulega, I'm hoping he doesn't. But yeah, I'd rather see
Nick Rinaldi's ride come
Yeah.
up from Supersport.
Well, you could have Petrucci go to Rinaldi's seat, Bulega go to Petrucci's seat,
yes, that makes sense.
and then Rinaldi.
True.
I don't know what Rinaldi will do.
Retire.
That's just our answer for everybody that doesn't have a seat. We're just retire.
Yes.
No, then Rinaldi could go to like British Supersport or something maybe.
So the next one, Scott Redding to Mark VDS with Sam Lowes as his teammate, and also on that, Mark VDS bike rumoured to be Ducati or Yamaha.
I really like the sound of Scott Redding.
I like how you've read there.
Sam
Sam allegedly predicted this weeks ago. Have you listened back to?
I started to listen to it, but then I had to turn it off because I couldn't focus on writing the news. So I haven't heard you actually predict this. So that's why I'm saying allegedly, because I still don't believe you predicted it.
That would be pretty awesome to have Scott and Sam on the same team. Though.
I tell you what, if they were on a Ducati as well, I'd be quite happy with that. That'd be my favourite team, I think, in World Supers.
A British, all-out British team. Well, even obviously.
Right, listen to this. Listen.
This is like going on a massive tangent. Whenever
Can't hear it, mate.
It'll be on the recording.
Championship before he moved to MotoGP, was he not riding a Mark VDS bike?
Keep listening.
Yeah.
Mark VDS 2010 to 2013.
Yeah, and that's the year that's whenever he nearly won the championship. So if Mark VDS comes into World Superbikes and Scott Redden needs a ride.
Yes. He also raced with them in 2015 on the in MotoGP as well.
So does it not stand to a little bit? Does it not stand to a little bit of reason that Mark VDS comes over, Scott Redden needs a ride, he gets on a Ducati or a Yamaha with Mark VDS with Sam Lowes. There's a British team.
Right, I know you couldn't hear that, but it'll be on the recording. That was episode 15, which was 4 or 5 weeks ago. It was for listeners, if they want to hear that, it's 1 hour and 36 minutes in. I already predicted over a month ago that Scott Redden could potentially go to Mark VDS.
Well, I'm claiming the
I
assist
just
for
want to
that.
throw. I'm claiming the assist.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't even have known that Mark VDS were going to go into fucking British Superbikes if you hadn't, or World Superbikes if you hadn't mentioned it to me. So yeah, you can claim the assist.
Yes.
I just put 2 and 2 together, man. That's all I did.
Yes.
It would be a good fit, though. I think that would be a good fit.
It would.
It would be brilliant. It would be really good.
2 experienced British riders, and if it goes to
And I-
Ducati as well, Scott Redden's got a lot of experience on Ducatis.
Yeah, and I love the Mark. You know that sort of cat, that sort of lion catty thing in the Mark
I
VDS.
love the Mark VDS livery.
I
It
do.
looks like a
because
thunder cat.
it's like the Villa kit, claret and
It's like the
blue.
Villa kit. Oh, shut up.
It is a nice looking bike.
It's
Yeah,
a
it
very
reminds
nice
me of
looking
the.
bike.
It reminds me of the Thundercats. That's why I like.
Yeah.
Thunder.
Thundercats.
Thundercats. Oh.
Lionel.
No, it reminds me of the Villa kit. Anyway, sticking with Scott Redden, he has said he intends to stay at the factory BMW in 2024, but is exploring other options. He wants to continue with BMW and believe in the project like they believe in him. And apparently his option to extend his contract with BMW is reportedly valid until the 15th of July. I don't know if that's true, that's just what I've heard.
But you have to think after this weekend, getting fourth and nearly getting a podium, that the BMW's making progression.
Yeah.
Gerloff did not too bad, even though Gerloff, he's got history.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, I have to say that. And yeah, Tom Sykes didn't do too bad in the BMW as well. So the bike's maybe progressing, it's maybe getting there. So maybe he does want to stay there. I also will say though that unless Scott Redden has anything else lined up and knows exactly where he's going to go, of course he's going to say he wants to stay at BMW. Because he's going to keep the he's going to concrete down that option until he has absolutely anything else to watch.
Yes. But that's the end of silly season for this week.
Oh, well, I hope if anybody else listening to this has any other notes or any other ideas, or like we said, if you just want to make something up and send us an email and just say about silly season, what you've heard. Obviously, if you've heard your next door neighbour sleeping with the other neighbour down the road, don't tell us that. We can't, but we'll not read it out in the show. Just tell us about motorbike riders who you think are going to change teams and whatever. And yeah, get involved. It's podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Before we move on, I'm not going to go into this in great detail. I just want to mention in the show, if anybody's still listening, the other races that happened this weekend. I know we talked about the tragic events and one of them, but Imatra, Peter Hickman was there, and if you go onto YouTube and type in Imatra 2023, the video coverage from it is really, really good. It's really, really good coverage. It's actually a good race to watch. It's very similar to like the TT coverage. It was live streamed, but it's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's well worth a watch. Good road race. You get to see Peter Hickman there. And yeah, the live coverage was really good. There was also another race this weekend, or last weekend, should I say, called Cockwood North, which is in Scarborough. Apparently you know somebody that was there. Was your brother there?
Yeah, my brother went there. He said it was really good. Dean Harrison was there. He
Dean
went and had a chat with Dean Harrison.
Yeah.
Said it was class, but he said it's good. It's not huge though. He's looking forward to the in a couple of weeks' time. He's going to the Barry Sheen Festival in Scarborough.
Yeah.
Which apparently
I think it's only like 2.2 miles long or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, I tried to look for some coverage on YouTube or anything for Cockwood North, and what's on there is not very good. So
no.
But definitely the Imatra, even you two. The Imatra feed on YouTube is really, really good for a road race. It's really good. I think it's worth a watch. Anyway, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to mention that before we move on with the next part of the show.
Yeah.
Which is?
Our predictions for the BSB at Snetterton.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it's got the sprint race on the Saturday, and then race 1 and 2 are on the Sunday. And obviously we've not made any predictions for the Super Sport or anything like that.
No. There are some strange predictions in there, so I'm going to be honest.
Oh, I forgot to talk about the BMW F900 Cup that Richard Cooper inevitably won. Oh.
Chippy's
The only
best
thing
mate.
to say on that was Nicky Coates looked like he was going to mount some sort of challenge and then come off on the actual main race. So, but apart from that, I know you don't like it, Chippy, and I actually don't know how you feel about it. But that's the second time I've seen them live, and I really enjoy watching them live. I think they're class bikes to watch.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Shock.
It's not great.
I genuinely haven't. So
Well, I don't know what it's like. Well, TV, it's not brilliant, but you see when you're watching it live, like me and Ash, we like bikes more than you do, but whenever you're watching it live, it's they're really, really good, exciting little bikes to watch racing.
yeah, I imagine they are. I do.
Anyway, let's just move on with our predictions for Snetterton.
Yes.
Like I say, we've only made Superbike predictions because, well,
Be here all day if we made predictions for everything else.
take far too much research to do anything else. Like I say, we're just not that damn professional. And nobody's listening now anyway, let's be honest. Right. So, who wants to go first for the predictions? Well, anyway, we've already written them down, so it doesn't really matter. Right, so Snetterton sprint race. I have gone for Kyle Ride.
And I.
The reason I gone for Kyle Ride is because I looked up the results last year, and for I can't mind if it was race 1 or race 2 or whatever, but the only people that finished in front of Kyle Ride in one of the races all left and went to different paddocks, and I thought, well, by the means of, you know, by the purpose of what's that saying I'm looking for? Anyway, take away the people that aren't there because they've left, and arguably Kyle Ride's going to win, so that's why I went for Kyle Ride.
Cool. I went for Dean Harrison, just simply because I want to see him win.
Yeah.
Why not?
He's, yeah.
I mean, I don't
Probably
think
he's probably not going to.
He's never really had like a top 10 finish, I don't think. Well, he has, but he's not. He doesn't finish that high in BSB.
He's just one
Well,
of
he's
my
more of a
favourite people in that.
he's more of a road racer. Let's be honest.
Yes.
He has
He
more of a
is,
road
but
racer.
I just like him. Why not? Never know.
I can't say much because I've made a fairly outlandish prediction
Yeah,
for race 2. So,
yes.
but
But I went with
so who
Tommy
you got for sprint
Bridewell.
race?
I went with Tommy Bridewell for the
Tommy.
sprint race.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he'll because Knockhill he was very, very aggressive in the sprint race,
He was.
and yeah, I think he'll hopefully be the same again because it's quite entertaining. Yeah, I've got Tommy Bridewell to win the sprint.
Right, we'll go in reverse order this time. Snetterton race 1 on the Sunday. Chippy, who are you going for?
Well, I've gone with Ryan Vickers because it's his home race. He does go well round there, and he's building confidence. He's got his first podiums now, and he's on the OMG bike, which Brad Ray was on last year. So I've gone for him to win his first race in BSB this weekend. I don't know whether it'll be
Ash, who have you
specifically this race, but it'll be a race, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fine, understand that. Ash, who have you gone for?
I've gone with Storm Stacey. The lad is obviously, since I've been watching it, the lad's like definitely growing on me. And also, he did really, really well at Knockhill, I thought. So
Yeah, he did do well. I had a wee next
that's
to
why
him.
I've gone. Yeah, you did. You
Went
keep
to the toilet
mentioning you had a
together.
wee next to him.
We'd next to each
Yes.
other, and I got stage fright because I was like, "Oh my god, Storm Stacey's next to me." So I
You
couldn't-
get stage fright next to anybody.
Yeah, I couldn't wee.
Yeah, so that Storm Stacey's mine.
And for race 1, I have gone with Glenn Irwin. Because I think Glenn Irwin's going to win a race at some time during the weekend. Like I say, he might end up winning race 2 or whatever, but I've got him down to win a race.
I think
Right,
he
so
will as
this time, Snetterton race 2, we'll start with Ash. We'll start with you. Who have you gone for?
Glenn Irwin again. Same
Yeah.
reasons. I think he's going to win one. I don't know when, but I hope he does.
Yeah.
Hope he does.
And Chippy, who have you gone for?
Leon Haslam, I think, is going to get his first race win this weekend.
Yeah, that's
Right.
a pretty good shout, his
So-
Haslam, to be fair.
So me and Chippy were writing out these predictions at the same time. We were practically writing on top of each other whenever we were doing our predictions. And I was looking through the paddock and looking through the names and who I thought.
This is
And
ridiculous, this one.
No, Haslam kept coming into my head, and I was like, I think Haslam's going to want to race. So, honestly, I think Haslam's going to want to race this weekend. That's what I thought. But then you wrote out Haslam, and I was like, fuck you, Chippy. I was going to say that. But then I couldn't get this idea of like an upset out of my head. Not an upset, but something, out there. I couldn't get the idea out of my head, so I was like, I just want to go with something that's a bit, ooh. So I have went for Danny Kent, and I don't think it's that big of a... I don't think it's that outlandish to believe.
Win a race this weekend.
But you think Storm Stacey will?
Well, Danny Kent, probably, yeah.
Alright.
We should do a bet.
No, because I usually lose.
I'll tell you what, if Dean
Yeah,
Harrison or Storm Stacey wins a race this weekend, I'll shave off all my hair. If they don't, then you have to shave off your beard.
No chance. No way. I had to shave my beard off, like, the start of the year, and I just look like a massive fat baby. It's not happening. Because, yeah. Seeing Sam there with his shirt, like, flexing and shit, like, ooh.
I'm just always playing with my hairbands. But, yeah, I don't think it's too outlandish to think that Danny Kent could win a race. He has shown potential over a few rounds.
How did he go there last year? I can't remember now.
Well, we shall see, won't we?
He was on a completely different bike last year, though, because now he's on his own team.
Yeah, he was racing for Steve last year.
I think he got 10th or 12th. He got 12th in one race and 10th in another one. So it wasn't exactly battling for the podiums.
You watch, we put all these predictions in, you watch Charlie get his first win.
Well, never know.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh.
Go race 3. Let's just have a look.
But some of them were fairly safe. Glenn Irwin's a fairly safe pick. Kylie Ride's a fairly safe pick. And so's Tommy Bridewell. So
Yeah.
I wanted to go out there with one of them. Like, at least one of my predictions I wanted to be a bit...
Well, none
I
of
only
us
didn't choose Kyle Ride this time because I went for the triple last time, so...
He didn't choose Kylie Ride this time because I'd already chosen it for a race.
Well, no, because I
Yes.
could have chosen Kyle Ride for race 1 or race 2.
Yeah, you could have.
But I
None of
didn't.
us
But
went
then-
for Tito Rabat.
Oh, absolutely not, no.
No. Although nobody went for Jason O'Halloran, and he's not a bad rider. He's had a great
not-
season.
Do you know what?
but
He was... No.
He wouldn't
But
be a
then
bad shout.
he had a really bad off at Knockhill, didn't he?
I can't remember now.
The last race, he was out
Oh,
front. He
yes,
fucking came
yes.
off, didn't
Yeah.
he? Quite badly, so...
Yes.
Yeah. He's a nice bloke, actually.
Yeah, he is.
Got his autograph and everything.
Such a fanboy.
Where did you get his autograph at?
On the pit walk, I went into full fangirl mode. I went to everybody I could.
I don't mean where were you at. I mean where is the autograph? Is it in a book? Is it in a
Oh no, it's on
program?
it's on like a sheet that he signed. Like with
Right.
him on the front, yeah.
The Donington program had a big couple of pages in the middle for autographs. It was really good.
Yeah, I got a program at Knockhill with some signatures in the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that program with me to Oulton Park, and I'm going to the people that I didn't get, I'll try and get them to fill that one up. I think.
Or just buy a program when you're at Oulton Park and get them to sign it.
Well, no, because I've already got signatures in the other one. I would like to fill it up.
Are you going to buy a program at Oulton Park though?
I bought a program at Knockhill.
That means no. That means no. He's not going to buy a program at Oulton Park.
Yeah, just get one for free.
Such a pikey, man.
Absolutely.
Forget about
I
trying
bought one at Knockhill. I'll probably end up buying one at
Forget about trying to contribute to the sport you love. Just try and get as much as you can for free.
Hey, I'm camping there, aren't I?
Because it's
So
the
you
cheapest
say.
option. You said.
Yes. 32 quid for the weekend, that's cheap. Other campsites
Beats.
around there were about 30 quid a night.
Beats lying in a lay-by, I suppose.
Well, it was cheap. It was cheaper to camp there than to convert my car into a camper. So, yeah,
What, are you just going to stay in your little one-man tent?
I've got a 3-man tent.
Oh, I hope
Well,
it
no,
rains.
okay, you just,
I
you
really
go stay in
hope
a
it
little
rains.
3-man tent.
The
tent I had up, now,
I'll be dry.
The tent I had, I'll be honest, it's not the easiest tent to put up, and if I was there by myself, I would probably struggle by myself. Like, well, it's definitely a 2-man job. Well, you could do it one person could do it, but it's not that easy. And if it's windy,
Well, that's why I've got this tent that I've got, because it is fully erected within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Class. Can't wait to use it.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, that sounds absolutely brilliant. But I have watched a couple of reviews on that tent, and all of them seem to be in a sort of warm climate. I've not seen anybody.
Well, I've seen one guy do it in a storm in America, and
I saw a guy do it in a storm as well, but I'm talking about tents.
Did you say Did you say it was a pop-up tent?
It is.
Because I've always.
When I say a pop-up tent, though, it is like the proper arms on it and stuff. Like, it's not like one of them crappy like.
But I've always thought that the pop-up ones aren't very good at being waterproof.
I bought a little one-man tent because the mate I was going with, who you know, Jace, I was going with him, and he just mentioned, he's like, I don't know how much room we have, because I showed him my tent and how big it was, and he's like, I'm not entirely sure how much room we have. So I went and bought a little one-man tent, just in case we didn't have the room for my 5-man tent. And apparently it goes up in under a minute. That's what it says. It's advertised. It says erect in under a minute. I know it's not 3 seconds, but I think 3 seconds is a bit of an exaggeration.
It's really not.
Well, it'll take you 3 seconds to open the fucking zap, would it not?
Well, no, what I mean is so you literally get it there, it's ready to go up, and you literally just pull the middle up and the arms out and click down. It is done in 3 seconds, I swear.
Yeah, but then you got to tie it down.
Oh yeah,
no,
what I'm saying is, it's
no,
erected.
I mean, from the minute you left your tent to actually get it out of whatever sort of cover it's in, it's going to take you. That tent says it'll take a minute. From the minute you get it, it'll take a minute.
Oh,
yours is false advertisement, because yours says 3 seconds when really you get out of the back of your car, unzip it, get it ready to pull up. So it's going to take like a minute.
Erected in 3 seconds.
We're so pedantic.
Right. Well, I am very pedantic. Anyway, I've not put that tent up. I've not even had it in the garden to see if it can go up in less than a minute, because I only bought it as a just in case. But it would be. I should actually get it out and just see how quick I can get it up.
That sounded naughty.
That's what she said. Yeah, I should actually get it out.
We have digressed massively. We could have done this after the show.
Aye, but this is a nice little bit. Why there's no point not putting this into the show so listeners can enjoy a little bit of bullshit.
Yeah,
it's a big bad BS.
I mean, if you are listening just to hear the bike stuff, I'd switch off now, because the bike stuff's finished. We're just going to talk rubbish.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Has anybody ever been to Snetterton?
No.
Like, for any reason?
Yes.
Was your old man racing there, or whatever?
He was, yeah. I've been to most of the tracks with him, to be fair. There's only a few I haven't been to.
I know I could go if I wanted to, because there's the option for me to go there.
Where, Snetterton?
Yeah, basically the same guys I was going with, one of them's going, and they were like, there's always a seat, there's always available. Usually when they buy a ticket, because they go in the camper van or they go in a car, they usually end up buying it for multiple people, and I think one of them was going down by himself. He never said anything, he never invited me down, but I'm sure if I asked the question he'd let me go, but...
Go.
No, it's there's too much going on at the minute. There's too much going on with life. Just, like, I would love to go. I'd love to just drop everything and go, but
yeah,
the way sometimes life just gets in the way. It's just at that stage at the minute where life is just in the fucking way, which is a good thing, because Well, obviously, inevitably, I like my life, but
Yeah.
it's just at that stage where you know that sort of thing where you just got to put that sort of stuff first.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I would love to go, but I know I can't.
I know it, I just don't want to see.
Ultimately, what I'm saying is, I think my wife would beat the shit out of me if I said I was going to go. She'd be like, fucking wise up, you're not going.
Oh.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll let him move house soon. Oh, God. Fuck.
I hate moving house, it's so shit.
Well, you got to help me move house soon, Ash, because you agreed
I
to
ain't
it.
helping you do shit.
He's going to Oulton Park. He's not going to
I'm
help
off
you
to
move
Oulton Park,
house.
mate. See you in a bit.
What a dick. Ask your mate
Well,
to help
free-
you, and then he says
No,
yes.
hang on.
And
Get
then
him-
he makes
Get
it
him free
flat.
tickets at your
Give me.
expense. Get him free
Not
tickets
the
at your
beauty
expense,
you give
Chippy.
What's that?
Very selfish.
Well, not really. You didn't tell me when in September. You just said it was in September.
It's the end of September.
Well, there you go then. I'm going mid-September.
Well, then you can
BSB.
help him move house,
Yeah, you
can't
can help
you?
me
Of
move
course
house.
I can. But all I do is get shit off him all the time. So why should I?
Well,
That's all we've ever got off Chippy, to be honest, since the day we met him was
I
shit.
hang on.
we should-
Whoa. The amount I used to get off you two.
Nah. Think I'll just watch you struggle and laugh.
Fine, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, just for anybody
I'm
that's
gonna
still
help
listening.
you, you little bitch.
For anybody that's still listening, when we first met Chippy, he was like our abuse pincushion,
Yes.
which was really good. You could just throw it at you, and you just absorbed it and took it. And all this time, you were just building it all up,
Yes.
so you inevitably could just turn into a cunt and throw it all back.
Give it back with interest.
No, he only does it over the internet. He wouldn't do it properly to you in the face. He's too scared.
Well, I've pushed you pretty close to the edge a couple of times.
Oh, I don't know. I did genuinely want to throw that burger in your face at BSB. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
When I was about to bite into it. How's your burger? I felt like just spitting in your face, man.
I went up to a chip cart in Donington, and I was looking at it, and I couldn't work it out. It was like they had jumbo hot dogs for like $7.50, and they had these like veggie bean burgers for like $6.50, and then they had like cheeseburgers for $6.50, and obviously I was going to get a veggie bean burger, and it says veggie bean burger meal, so you get chips and a drink, £14, and I was £14, and I was trying to work it out. It was like $6.50 for a burger. How the fucking much is the chips and the Coke? It worked out it was like £5 for a chip and £3.80 for a bottle of Coke. So inevitably, if you bought it as a oneer, you end up saving like £1.30 or something, or some shit like that. So I went up to her and I says, "Can I have a bean burger, please?" And she goes, "Oh, we're all out, love. Do you want a beef burger?" And I was like, "No." And she must have thought I didn't hear her. And she goes, "We don't have the bean burgers, love. It's going to have to be a hamburger." And I was like, "I don't fucking want a hamburger." I didn't say that. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, "Keep your fucking death burger to yourself. I don't want it." I was like, "I'll just have chips then." Chips. And she gave me chips. She was like, "That'll be a £5." And I was like, "Oh, right." I was expecting some big massive tray of chips, and then I seen this lady in front of me, and she got this tiny little poke, like it was about the size of my phone, with just this little poke of chips. And I was looking at it, and I was like, "That better be a fucking small chip she's got." And then they gave me one as well, and I was like, Jesus. So I actually counted the chips. There was 26 chips in it. It cost me a £5.
Yeah.
Well,
But they
I
can
went
charge
back
it
to
because
me
they
and I was-
know people will pay it. They know people will pay it. I'm gonna get
And
a
you
little
know-
cooker like
You
you've got,
paid
Sam, for when I go.
You paid 19 pence per chip.
Yeah. And do you know why? Because I went down to the paddock area, I went down to the merch area, and I walked past and I smelt that,
Fried
that
onions.
nostalgic, unequivocal smell of chips and vinegar, doused in vinegar. And you walk past and you're just like, that's
Yeah.
just it. You can't mistake that smell. And it was since then I was like, I just need to eat chips. I just need chips, some real proper chips. They were nice though. Don't get me wrong, they were nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little cooker like you got. Little, the gas with the gas canister.
Yeah,
Little
they're
pot.
class, brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
you can get them. You can get them for about £20 on Amazon. So
20 quid mine cost, yeah.
Yeah.
And mine
I'm gonna
came
get
with
them.
it came with like 2 bowls to cook in, if you want to cook soup or something, or a curry or something. It came with 2 pans, came with a little handle thing that you can lift them when they're hot. It came with obviously the gas canister on the stove, and it came with like a fish slice and a scoopy thing. Brilliant. I've used it a couple of times. I'm so happy with it. The kids the other day were like,
gonna cook bacon on it, and that's it. Make a bacon sandwich.
I just did burgers. On Saturday, I woke up on Saturday morning and I cooked 3 sausages, and I also cooked. I had I had hot dog buns, but I was so hungover I couldn't even eat the bread. Like, I was so hungover. I was just really quiet. I was just sitting there, just wanting to die, basically. I was like cooking these sausages. So I just ate the sausages by themselves. And I never ate again until later on that night. We got back to the tent at about must have been about 8 o'clock, and I had 2 burgers. And then I was hammered, absolutely pissed.
I don't know why you
And
did
actually,
yourself.
Were you as badly hungover as you were that time in Cyprus?
What time in Cyprus? There is
The
multiple
last time.
times in
The
Cyprus
last time.
I was.
The last time in Cyprus.
Oh, the last time. I can't remember that hangover.
That was
Couldn't
when
be
we
that.
were in.
Oh,
In the
yeah, I do
hotel.
remember. Oh, I've had much worse hangovers than that, but yeah, that was bad.
Oh, right. Because
Yeah,
I remember you saying
yeah.
that was probably the worst you'd ever had.
Oh, I say that with every hangover you've got. You always say that. This is the worst one I've ever had. No, it wasn't that bad. I didn't feel really, really bad, but I just didn't feel great either. And then the heartburn kicked in, and fuck, I felt bad with the heartburn.
Well, I'm just going to get that little cooker so I can make myself a bacon snarler in the morning, and then I'll be alright for the rest of the
Excuse
day.
me.
Oh God, I hope it
My
rains.
kids-
I so hope it rains.
My kid said to me the other day, "Can we have a barbecue?" And I said, "We don't have a barbecue." And then I just thought, I've got that little gas stove, so I just cooked burgers outside in the gas stove, like with the barbecue. They loved it. Thought it was class. Yeah, I hope it rains too. I hope Oulton Park at fucking Tombstone. Hilarious, brilliant.
Just specifically
But in
on
saying
your
that-
tent.
But, like one of them cartoons where there's just a cloud just over your tent.
Dick. You're such a dick, Chippy. It's unreal. And you
However, I
sound
will
fucking
say,
dicks.
no, I will say, you see if you're in a good tent, and hopefully you do have a good tent. I'm not like Chippy.
No, I hope it's really leaky.
And this is why I hope that your new house on the roof is going to leak.
Are you talking about the tent, Chippy? Little Willy Wetmark.
And I hope you're miles away from
no,
the toilet as well.
You see when you're in a tent, and it's a good tent, let's say you're in a good tent, and it starts to rain, do you not find it very therapeutic when you're just lying there in the rain and you can hear it hitting against your tent, and it's...
Yes.
Yes
very
and
nice.
no, because you know you've got to go out in it at some point and take your tent down. It's going to be all wet and minging.
And I will
Yeah.
be miles away from the toilet, and do you know why?
Do you went for the
Because
cheapest
I'm not-
option?
No, because I am travelling down on practice day, not the day before. So the camping opens on the Thursday, because obviously people get there for the practice, ready for the practice on Friday. But I'm travelling down on the Friday.
Are you going down in your bike, or are you going down in the car?
I'm going in the car.
You're not going on your
You
African
don't know if
twin?
you...
No, I'm not going on my Africa. I don't own an African twin, Chippy.
Oh, sorry. I thought
You don't
were
know if
getting
you'll
one.
be
I just
far away from
imagined
the
it.
campsite. If you're going down on a Friday, you might get there at a point where they've opened up. There might be multiple campsites, and you might get there at a time when they're just opening up another one and look out.
I mean, I've just...
And
I
they'll have
couldn't-
Portaloos
I couldn't
all
book
around the
campsite
campsites.
Along the front of the fence line. I had to book that was fully booked up. I just had to book the general admission one.
Oh God, I hope
we
you're
were
miles away
staying-
from a toilet. I hope it rains. I hope you're like near a wasp nest or something as well.
Well, I was speaking to a mate of mine that does a lot of long haulage, and we were on a job driving through Europe, and we were talking about needing a shit basically. And he just said about what he used to do was he had a bucket, and he had black bin liners. He had about 10 black bin liners on it. And then if he was ever caught short and there was no toilet nearby, he would just take a dump in the black bin liner, tie it up, and then throw it away at the next opportunity. Now, if you have a little bit of lime, because I stayed in one of them hippy-dippy yurts once, and if you have a little bit of lime, just a wee tiny bit, it just dries it all up and takes away the smell. So just have a little bucket of lime, tiny little bit, get you going in your car, and then have a bucket with bin liners in it, and then you can take a dump in the bucket and throw a little bit of lime in, and then just tie it up and just have it in your tent to the next day, and then go and throw it away the next morning.
I've just got this image of me sat in my tent, like scrunched up like that, just sat on a bucket with a toilet lid on it.
You outside at night time, nobody's going to see you.
Oh yeah, great. No one's going to see. It's still broad fucking daylight at the moment, at the night.
I'm talking about 3 in the morning
sat there
here.
with a fucking paper in front of me tenting and shit.
You're alright, don't mind me, mate.
That would be all
Have you
over
seen
me.
this weather? Well,
It'd be
obviously
like
I'm talking about 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it'd be like that thing on Jackass, when he goes into the hardware store and takes a dump. What are you doing? I'm almost done.
You can buy little portable, I know that sounds portable, but you can buy portable portaloos. So you can buy little loos.
But I'm not going that far. I'll just walk to the toilet.
Oh, there's nothing like an old man wee in the middle of the night when you hit to get up and you know you have to
a
walk for
wee's
miles.
different.
You got to get
A
your
wee's
boots on
different.
and everything.
No, a wee, I'll just literally stick my knob out at 10, off we go, and yeah.
Aye, but when have you ever woke up in the middle of the night and thought, God, I need a shite? That never happens.
Has to me a couple of times.
No, it doesn't happen.
No,
to
you
me.
know what my bowel movements are like. I could almost tell you about what time of the day it is, even without a watch on. I could tell you what time it is by me going to the toilet. I'm like, oh, I know what time it is because I'm going to the toilet.
But when you used to get into work, the first thing you do is go straight to the toilet.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And I've probably been about 10 minutes before I go to work as well.
Held it in to make sure it does it in works time.
Yeah.
No, I get up in the morning and as I'm brushing my teeth, I'm like, oh, there we go. Drop the kids off at the pool.
There's not better than having a dump in works time. It's great. Because
I used to work in this.
Actually,
I used to work in this Kong. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, if you're going to need a wee in your tent, take the big Oasis bottles because I've got the bigger rim at the top. I always used to wee in one of them.
So you can fit the helmet in.
Yes, basically. Coke bottles are rubbish because they're really small, but yeah, Oasis bottles have got the big rim.
Needle dick.
I know from being in the trucks and needing to piss in the bottle in the truck, the Coke bottle, you hit to get your little piss eye right in the hole before you can go.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you then seal the hole, you're weeing into it, and then you're getting all the pressure's building up, and then it's firing back at you. So you need a gap around it.
Oasis bottle. I'll get a big 1 litre one.
You need a big Oasis bottle.
I'll sup that on the way down.
Yes.
Then you will need to pee.
Yeah. No, I'm going in the car, so I'll be able to take plenty of stuff with me. I might even take a cool box, just with some ice packs in, just to keep me bacon cool. Over the couple of
I'm
days.
jealous. I wish I was going now. When is Oulton Park?
It is the 15th to the 17th of September.
Hmm.
When you should be helping me
Well, we'll
move
see.
house.
You said the end of September. That's mid-September. You utter tool.
Yeah, but I still need stuff doing here.
Yeah, well, you just have to wait, then, yeah.
Right. Will we bring the show to a close?
Yeah, but I
forgot
think
we're
it's
still
gonna be
recording.
a fucking big edit, this one.
I'm not editing any of that. This can stay on. That's good fun. Listeners want to hear this sort of stuff. That's just why they tune in.
It's really not.
Do they? Fuck. Oh, you said you got a message from one of our listeners saying that he heard our shout out on Donington.
Oh yeah, it was Harvey.
Yeah.
Harvey heard our...
He gets about a bit, does Harvey, doesn't he?
He does. I think that's where he does
So-
most of his marshalling. I don't know, I'm guessing.
So-
I'm pretty sure that is.
Pretty much got free every time we go to fight. Every time I know somebody's at one of them races, I'm going to find out what the email address is, and I'm going to email them, and we just get free advertising of the.
Yeah, I just sent a text to the tower when I did it. Just sent one.
Yeah, so did I. But you need to know the email. Well, not a text. I sent an email address. Donington Park one had an email address, so I sent them an email. And they read it out. Boom. Right. So we will bring the show to an end. We have just been talking utter nonsense for the past 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
If you're still listening, thanks very much for staying tuned in. We do appreciate your support. It's been a bit quiet this week. Fair enough. Can't always be on it all the time. Please get involved. Please be part of the show, because it's much better for us if you are, because we can interact with you more and make more of a show of it, rather than having to talk so much BS. But if that's what you like, you don't have to send us emails about bikes or necessarily about any of the races in particular. If you just want to send us some random BS, we will try and incorporate it into the show.
You could give us
As you
some
can tell,
camping tips. Any Oasis
Yeah, give us-
bottles or buckets. Any
give
other
us
advice like
camping
that?
tips.
Have
you
you
got any
used the
pizza
Shiwi?
tips on how? Yeah, got any pizza tips on how to make good pizza, or how to make, anything at all? Feel free to throw it in an email, send it to us. We'll try and put it in the show. It's a big bad BS for a reason. We love bikes. We'll talk about bikes all day, but ultimately it's as much your show as us. So we will talk about anything really. If you want to get in contact with us, it's it's podcast at TheBigBadBS.co.uk. In fact, Ash, do you want to do this bit? You usually do this bit.
Yeah, I'll do this bit. So you can email us at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. We're on YouTube, The Big Bad Bike Show, Twitter @TheBigBadBS. The main one that we get most of our correspondence and stuff through, and people get involved, is the Big Bad BS Facebook page. We do have a Big Bad Bike Show page as well, which we do post on, and we will have an Instagram up and running soon. Sam is on his own personal Twitter at @SoberCasano. I am on
Apparently I need to
Instagram.
change that.
Yeah, I still need to change it. I am on Instagram, the Up North Biker, and Chippy's Twitter is @MotoChippy.
How long is this Instagram page going to take? Because it's been like 3 months now.
Well, considering you
I
cried
said-
about it, you can.
I
set it
said
up,
I was
Chippy.
going to start one, didn't I? I said I would do it, and then I didn't do it because I think I got sidetracked by something. I've just realised that I spend most of my time on Twitter just on the Big Bad Bike Show Twitter page,
Yes.
rather
I don't
than
even
my
have-
own
I
Twitter
don't
page.
even have Twitter.
It's really good Twitter.
But you're a lot better at posting on Twitter than I am, Chippy. So you should be the Big Bad Bike Show Twitter guy.
Oh, actually, there is just a final note.
Here we go.
Sorry, no. Joanne Mir has announced he's having a baby soon. And Maverick...
Him personally?
Well, his wife, I imagine.
Yeah, I would
And
think
Maverick
so.
Vinales' missus gave birth today as well.
Another one.
Another one. And Ash, I don't know if you saw, I did put it in the chat, but Leeds have got a new manager.
Yes, I know, and I'm glad it is who it is.
Yes. Anyway.
Yes, no football here.
Yes.
Right, there's nothing else to talk about. We've actually started talking about football, so that means it's the end of the show. I could talk about the Ashes or Wimbledon, but I've been told today that that's off the cards because you guys don't like it. So,
No.
excuse me, nothing else to say from any of us, so it's going to be a big goodbye from Ash.
Ta-da then!
I've started it now, so it's a big goodbye from Chippy,
Goodbye.
and it's a big goodbye from me. We were the Big Bad Bike Show. Goodbye.